You're getting, you know.
I'm hoping the crowd. They're here to be hyped. I mean, they're here for a good night, and they're going to get a great night.
They're going to get a great
and
night.
An energized night.
We got a long way to go, and we're starting off hot here. Barry, get yourself your headphones on. Get yourself settled with the microphone. We are live on UFC Fight Pass. But Ross, I mean, what a privilege to have those two guys first into the booth with us. I mean, there's not a more wild man in the world that I've spoken to than Yuri Prochazka.
No, that man is a samurai. He is a man who is in tune with the earth, and he is the lineal light heavyweight champion. As we all know, that man never lost his belt. I still consider him the best light heavyweight in the world. I don't know if you do the same. That's not a knock on Jamal Hill, but when he won that belt against Glover Teixeira in a fight of the year contender, it was one of the best fights I think I've ever seen in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I was there in Singapore actually, and what was very interesting was watching Yuri get ready for the fight. I remember being out in the swimming pool, and he was doing like a karate kata in the water with his like warrior haircuts. And there were some people in Singapore that weren't just there for the fights. They were like on their holidays, and you've got Yuri Prochazka like churning up the water with his display of traditional martial arts. It was just wild.
Yeah, he is that man. I really wish he kept the haircut. Like the samurai haircut was something else. I know he had to cut it off, but to me, like, that was iconic. That's what made him the superstar he is. But look, now he's just a born superstar at this stage. He's really come into his own. The fans love him. For somebody when English isn't the first native language, he is an absolute icon of the sport at this stage.
And Barry, what was wild about that, I'm not sure when this stream actually started, but he was recounting the moments where he got lost on a mountain in Las Vegas for 15 hours, nearly lost a toe. I mean, that's not the kind of news that UFC fans want to hear, but it sounds like he's on the right track to recovery.
Yeah, but it sounds very strange to just be almost losing a toe. You wonder what he was actually doing up there. Like, did he bring any water? Did he eat? He probably didn't.
Well, you do know that Yuri owns and lives in a forest. He's very self-sufficient. You know, he bathes in a frozen lake every morning, things like that. Like light work, normally, you'd think, a mountain in Las Vegas.
I know, I don't think I've met a more interesting man. Bar yourself, John, obviously. But I mean, that's
very kind.
Just the way he goes out in the snow, calls out fighters. That's exactly what MMA fans want to see.
So we also had Arnold Allen, someone that I've been following and enjoying his work since he was a teenager, actually. I think I first met Arnie when he was about 16 years of age. I've been lucky enough to visit him at his home, in a home gym as well. Just the most down-to-earth guy you're ever going to meet. And apparently going hunting for a very good combination of sandwiches, confectionery and water.
Yes, he is the meal deal king. Like, this guy's so down to earth. You hear he showers at bus stations and garages and stuff like that. Like he's a wild human being, and like you know, he's done a bit of training up in Renegade, and like Leon Edwards, he's waited a long time to get the big fight. He's got the big fight now, Max Holloway. It's probably the biggest fight in the featherweight division outside the champion, and a win there, you'd have to say, cements him as the #1 contender, and he will get his chance to fight Alexander Volkanovski or Yair Rodriguez, whoever wins that fight, which I think is looking like it's being booked for UFC 290, John.
Yeah, Barry, what did you think about that? There was talk of an immediate go again with Islam Makhachev, but if it is the direction they go down, Yair Rodriguez next. I mean, we're shifting from Arnold Allen for a second, but do you think that's the kind of better way for the divisions if Volk stays as a featherweight for now?
Well, look, I love a champ, and everyone loves a champ. But I think it is right. I think Volkanovski against Yair next, and then if Arnold, or when, Arnold takes on Max and wins, he'd be right in line to face the winner of those two to unify the belt.
So I was speaking with his camp, as I said to him, like, they have been asking for that Holloway fight for a little while now, and I had to kind of say, like, why of all the guys, Max Holloway? From an analyst's point of view, most guys have to go through Max Holloway in order to get to the title. But I go back to the Calvin Kattar fights. I was so blown away by the body of work that Calvin Kattar was putting in to that point that led him to fight Ireland. And I think a lot of us thought Max Holloway has been around so long now, been in some big battles, perhaps after those fights with Volkanovski, this might be the time where he loses a little focus and, you know, big famous guy having his head turned. Oh, how wrong we were. It was maybe the best individual performance I've ever seen live. And you're going after that guy.
Yeah. What was the general consensus around Europe, in UK, when that fight was made, Max Holloway against Arnold?
Well, I think it's a big fight.
Because Arnold is a big name here, but just around Europe, he's sort of going under the radar. And like, look at it now, he has that big fight. But when that was announced, how did that go down over here?
I think it goes down really well when you've got guys like Ariel Helwani banging the Arnold Allen drum, and if he hadn't have had that performance against Dan Hooker, I think it would have been a harder fight to sell. But we really saw the berserker style that Arnold can turn on. And again, from following his career, he'd gone from a guy who was quite reckless early on, still getting the wins, very athletic, highly skilled, but the emotional side of him would definitely come out. And that's actually strategically why they sent him over to work with Faraz Zahabi, who has a much more structured approach and, you know, don't go out there saying crazy things and doing crazy things. I think they took the pendulum swung quite heavily the other way, so that's when we saw some decisions coming from Arnold Allen. But now I think they got that blend right. He's come back home, he's finding that middle ground where finally he's understanding the moments where he can really go gung-ho.
Yeah, especially that down Hooker fight, that was unbelievable.
And John, what do you think Arnold's paths to victory are in this fight? Because obviously Max Holloway is the self-proclaimed best boxer in the UFC. Do you think Arnold has to take this one down to the ground?
No, I think he has to put an MMA performance together. I mean, you can't beat Max Holloway in any one dimension. Calvin Kattar is as good a boxer as we've seen, certainly in that division, and you could extend that sentiment across the roster as well. So I think he needs to mix it up. People saw Arnold put together an emphatic finish, really, with Dan Hooker, but when you break it down, he threw punches, there was a body kick in there, there was a knee, there was an elbow. I mean, it didn't go down to the ground. He's super strong. The guy's an absolute specimen. So I think it's the glue that puts it all together, the overall pressure, the fact that he's going to turn up fast, and hopefully surprise Max, but, you know, odds on probably going to the distance.
Hopefully not. Hopefully there's an early stoppage. Who doesn't like an early stoppage? But what was also very impressive about that Dan Hooker win was Arnold was linking in with Faraz, like, over the internet. Like, they weren't actually trained together in the build-up to that fight. Just like knowing that they're doing Zoom calls, showing how to train, what he should be training is it's modern day technology, but that makes that win even bigger, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Let's turn it back though to what we've got to look forward to tonight. And I want to get the perspective from you guys. Often during fight week I'm locked away in a hotel room researching or behind a closed door with one-on-one interviews, but you guys have been boots on the ground. You've been out there feeling the energy. What are we feeling? What's the reaction like?
I just think this is such a beautiful homecoming for Leon Rocky Edwards. Like, that man really had a tough road to the title. Yeah. Obviously the fight itself, you know, he won the first round and he put in an unbelievable performance in the first round, and then rounds 2, 3 and 4 didn't go his way, and then, like, it was the most cinematic finish to a fight I think in UFC history. The way John Anik made the call and then Leon actually, you know, timed the head kick perfectly. It was phenomenal, and we saw that emotion in the crowd with the chants at weigh-ins of headshot dead. Like, the crowd is going to be electric in there today, and it's good that obviously we saw the last 2 UFC London shows. John, you were calling them. There were some unbelievable people fighting on that card. We're getting a slightly different contingent of UK fighters from this card. We're getting your Chris Duncans, Sam Pattersons. We're getting Christian Leroy Duncan. Jojo Wood is now fighting, no longer Calder, just Wood, is fighting on the card as well. So we're getting some unbelievable fighters on the card, and I think it's great that, you know, the UFC is spreading the rub across the UK for these guys.
Yeah, Barry, your thoughts on how the week's gone, and anyone that's really sort of stood out as a crowd pleaser, something you didn't know about someone, or just a general feel of UFC Fight Week?
I was watching the embeddeds in the build-up, and someone that, like, just really caught the fans' attention. It has to be Justin Gaethje. At the media day, at the press conference, everyone just, it seems like they were really in awe of him. Like, he has a great dance partner, having Fiziev there. But I think the reception that they both got, their fans sort of cross over, they bring the fight, they bring the passion. They're in there they're in there to throw down, and I think that one's going to come out as the fans want to watch.
Ross, Gaethje turned around and said, "I am the most exciting fighter that the UFC has ever seen." And when he said that, I was like, there's been a few. And then I thought, do you know what? You could be very right. Do you share his sentiment?
I think himself, I'm not going to lie, like Michael Chandler's fights, then he's had no boring fights either. Obviously those two have done that dance. The two of them are definitely there together, but he's not called the highlight for nothing. He is a human highlight reel. I think he's got more fight bonuses than he does fights. Not many people have that accolade, but I think Fiziev is the perfect dance partner for him. And Fiziev is a bit of a human highlight reel himself. We've seen him do the Matrix in the fights.
Gaethje said 9 bonuses in 7 fights.
Oh, I see. Is that right? Yeah. Well, you know, you can have fight of the night and knockout of the night, I guess, in the same sentence. It really is quite unbelievable.
That's an after party you want to go to.
Is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. We'll see. I mean,
we've seen the Gaethjes. They're staying in the same hotel as us.
Yeah.
They look like they know how to party.
They definitely know how to party.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll take your word for that. I go to bed really early after these things. Straight to bed, tuck myself up, get ready for the next one.
See, you're a professional. We have the Irish in our DNA. You know what I mean? The pint of Guinness is mandatory, especially on Patrick's Day yesterday.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, fellas. I do. I actually am awaiting the delivery of my Irish passport, so I can officially.
Yes, you can, John. Ole, 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 ole.
I can officially wear this. My mum was a Kennedy, bless her. So I'm down, fellas.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
That co-main event is just mouth-watering. It's obvious that Gaethje should be here with Usman, their teammates and everything else, but I'm not sure the UFC could have put together a better co-main event for any crowd, but particularly the UK fans who go absolutely bonkers to support these fighters.
Yeah. We like to say the UK fans, which probably doesn't go down well, are the second best fans in the world after the Irish, you know. But,
the Australians are now campaigning for it hard as well. It's a great competition out there for who's got the best fans.
You know what? If Dane is listening, we'll have to drag you back to Dublin because that's where it's at. But this fight is insane. It is absolutely a fight fan's dream. These are two of the most exciting guys on the roster, and you have to think a win for either of these guys could put them right back in there in line for a title shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Barry, when I look at the skill set that Justin Gaethje possesses, and if you're in his corner, you've got to think integrate some wrestling, like way more wrestling than what he does.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's a fight that he will? This particular fight is the one where he might actively go after it?
Do you know what? If it was 5 rounds, I would say yes. But because it's 3 rounds, I think it's just going to be just all guns blazing this time.
Do you think that ego comes into it a little bit, given that Fiziev is such a high-level striker that he wants to kind of show, hold on a second, young stud?
Do you know what? I wouldn't say so. Just because what age he is now, how many wars he's been through, he doesn't seem like he can't really teach an old dog new tricks, and I don't think he's going to just change now. Especially when the fans that are going to be here, like this side of the world. The fans are like the best, the most interactive, the most chanced, the most energized, as some may say. It's I just can't see that changing, and Fiziev is going to want to throw down big time.
Well,
What do you think?
Impartial. Well, first of all, let's shine a little light on Fiziev, shall we? Because I've not seen many people do the kind of things that he does so beautifully when it comes to striking in mixed martial arts. I mean, he had a rough first out in his debut, but since then, I mean, he's just looked absolutely sensational.
Yeah.
And the maturity that we're seeing, the team that he has over in Tiger Muay Thai and Bangtao with those guys looks very, very well prepared. Did you see this guy reaching the dizzy heights that he's gotten to so quickly?
So quickly, no. But I see him sort of having a rise the way like Chimaev or more so Rakhmonov has had in the welterweight division. it's just now he's getting the bigger names. Like this is definitely like a really big name. Like you see the likes of Gaethje, you see the likes of Poirier. They're sort of like waiting for a big name to come. But I mean, when you get the wins, Fiziev just lined up one now against Gaethje, and that's why it's the co-main event. This is like a huge fight, and this is a big show for him as well. For the UK fans.
Yeah, for me, I think Fiziev, the talent is there. He has a bit of luck of the Irish when he is overturned in Bangkok. There's a fellow over there called John Hutchinson. He does a bit of boxing with in Muay Thai with a bit of Piotr Jan as well. So no, he does have that look of the Irish in there. So well, he is one that we'll definitely look out for. But he definitely has the skill set. His striking is next level. I think he's claimed to have over 300 Muay Thai fights in his career before moving to MMA. So. You know, he said Justin Gaethje's number of fights doesn't quite match his, so he's actually claiming he's the more experienced guy going into this fight.
And started off his Muay Thai career with Shevchenko, the Shevchenko sisters. Like, I actually met Shevchenko's, or Mum Shevchenko, if you like, in Turkmenistan back in 2017. Bizarre story. I guess I can tell it given the format here. So I was doing some Central Asia Games stuff, doing some announcing for some Muay Thai over there, and we were going for a dinner after everything was wrapping up, and there weren't any other spaces left on this coach apart from right at the front. I'm a backseat kind of guy, and I was
down the back with the cool kids.
Yeah, exactly that. And lo and behold, I sit down next to this lovely lady. Turns out it's Valentina Shevchenko's mum.
Mama Shev.
Like, there was probably no one else that was attending that really knew much about the UFC at all, and I just so happened to go and sit next to her. And of course, I've been with the UFC a few years at that point. And I was kind of like, oh my word, this woman is responsible for one of the greatest female fighters ever.
Yeah, she raised an assassin.
And two of them, really.
Yeah.
But she's had such a massive footprint on Muay Thai coming from that region. And we can see that Fiziev kind of started there and has gone on to do what he does. So aside from that little anecdote, on the embedded, he talked about spilling blood and eating hearts.
Yeah, what is it with these Eastern European guys who...
I think that's Central Asian, just to be geographically correct.
Sorry. Let's be very, very
Get the globe out, Ross.
But these guys, like, they are born different. They have a different mentality. They think different. They approach the fight game different. They are born killers by the looks of things.
Yeah. Barry, what's your prediction then for that fight?
Wow. You put me on the spot here. What was my prediction? I think Justin Gaethje is just so impressive. But there's something about Fiziev this week, the way he's just like conducting himself. I just think he just could come in and steal the show.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think Fiziev's going to get the job done, and I think he's going to get the job done inside the distance. I think maybe second round. I think he's slightly more polished on the feet, I'm going to call it, than Justin Gaethje. I know Justin Gaethje doesn't like to be called wild, but he is a wild man, and that's it. So I'm going to say Fiziev by TKO round 2. Are you allowed to give your prediction yourself, John?
Absolutely not. I love sitting on a fence. But the one thing I would say is it doesn't have to look pretty to be effective. And we've seen that with some of the greats that have graced the octagon. It doesn't have to, out and back on the rails in a super beautiful looking head kick like Leon's. You have car crash style fighters that achieve double champ status. So, it might not be pretty. I think it will be bloody, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think if this one doesn't win Fight of the Night, people will be shocked.
Well, talking of Fight of the Night and other stuff then, what's the fight that's gone under the radar for you?
For me, I'm really looking forward to Lerone Murphy. I just think, him being the miracle and him having a change opponent. Obviously, he was supposed to fight Nathaniel Wood. It was going to be an all-British affair. I'm sure some people were happy that they don't have two British fighters fighting each other here in London to split the crowd. But I'm really high on Lerone Murphy. I think his backstory is really, really cool. For those who don't know, obviously, he got shot in the face and survived, and now what he's come on to do is absolutely incredible. He seems to be an absolute stellar guy, John. I'm sure you probably have more interactions with him than we have, but he's just something I'm really looking forward to see, and I think he's got great chance and great opportunity to become a real star with this UK crowd behind him.
Yeah, the only layer that I would add to that is he got this opponent last week. Like the poor fella was without a dance partner, but preparing. He'd gone all the way over to Thailand as well. Massive investment in his camp. We hadn't seen him for a little while too, so that was. I really felt for him, and I was worried. Obviously, it was Nathaniel Wood that was supposed to be here, and he got injured.
What did you make that original matchup?
I personally, I hate it when I see two UK guys go against one another, because I feel like I'm really part of like Team Europe over here, and these fights best man has to win. But you know, do we have to do it now? Do we have to do it here? Can it be for like when the stakes are really, really high? But all the same, if I was to remove that, it definitely made sense. Both of those fighters are highly skilled. They've both made their marks here in the UK, and actually there's a kind of affiliation between the two gyms. It's Manchester top team and Great Britain top team. That's not a mistake. The coaches are very, very close. So yeah, that would be interesting. But Barry, your pick out of all of those fights that you perhaps think's going under the radar?
Well, if you couldn't tell, I'm Irish, and there was SBG's. Well, Gunnar Nelson trains out of SPG Ireland as well. He's fighting Brian Barberena. Now, this fight is very interesting for the fans in Ireland, because Ian Machado Gary wanted to take on Brian Barberena. And then, so depending on who wins between Gunnar and Brian Barberena, you could have Brian against Ian or Gunny against Ian. And that could potentially do big numbers in Dublin.
Now, I didn't see Gunnar versus Ian Gary as a potential matchup. Is that something you guys would be cool with?
We want to see big fights. Like, Ian now trains in America. I know Gunny is majority of the time in Iceland, where he has a big affiliation with SPG. But I mean, that would be huge for Ireland. Like, I don't see, like, you want to make fights that people are going to tune into. You want to sell tickets. You want to sell tickets. You want to like do shows. You want to do big numbers. You want to get big shows going. I think that would be great for a headline in UFC.
Well, while we're on it then, let's switch gears and talk a little of Irish persons in the UFC, kind of present and hopefully future then. Can't avoid the fact, you know, St. Patrick's Day, and of course, listen, I was there in 2014 for that big show, McGregor Brandao. I was there after. My time with Cage Warriors was spent on like really.
That was our first ever UFC as well.
Oh wow! Yeah. What a card to go to.
That's when the bug was hit forever.
Yeah. Well, and great, and we need those moments. There's going to be people much like yourself that'll be sitting in positions much like this in you know, just under 10 years' time, because they've been bitten by it.
And they'll be here with you.
Yeah. So, with that said, like Ian Gary, has his star risen enough at this stage, do you think, to carry a card back home?
I think at this stage, if you put the three letters UFC Dublin in the 3 Arena, it wouldn't actually matter who was on the card at this stage. I think it would sell out. People would love to see it. People are dying for a UFC back in Dublin. Obviously, prior to the pandemic, we were supposed to get Robert Whittaker versus Darren Till. Now, tell me, how good of a main event would that have been to have in Dublin?
Forgot about that.
That was a great fight as well when they actually did get to square off. So I think you can put anyone in front of a Dublin crowd. It's a really educated crowd. They love it. They love the UFC. They love to watch the fights. And I think if Ian Gary, he could have a main event, he could have a co-main event. But I think if you put those three letters back in the 3 Arena, it would sell out in a heartbeat. You know, the Dublin fans are known as the best pound-for-pound fans in the world. Sorry, UK. But they are, and I'd love to have it back. And you know what? I didn't really overly think of Gunnar Nelson versus Ian Gary, but I think that's a fight that could headline. Obviously, Ian Gary does all of his training now in Kilcliff, formerly Sanford MMA. That gym changes its name every month, so who knows what it'll be next month. But you know, that's a gym full of welterweight killers. Gunnar Nelson's like an adopted son from the Irish. Yeah. You know what I mean? It would definitely have a lot of people talking. It would have great interest. But I think there's plenty of other Irish talent who are on the cusp of that UFC call, and I think if we could get them on the card as well, that would be phenomenal, John.
Well, you just can't end that sentence there. I'm going to have to ask you, who is up right on the cusp?
Oh, John, I didn't think you'd ask.
Is it male or female?
Do you want male or females?
We have time, fellas.
We have time. So, first name up, Cage Warriors featherweight champion, Paul Hughes.
Seconded.
Yeah, he's an absolute incredible talent. He's fighting out of Fight Academy Ireland. He is one of the best prospects. I'd say in the world. I'm not going to say in Europe. He's an absolute incredible talent. That man needs to be signed to the UFC sooner rather than later. I think Rhys McKee is the Cage Warriors welterweight champion. I feel like he was almost let down by the UFC. They fed him to Khamzat Chimaev in his first fight. That's not nice. And then he fought an absolute veteran in Alex Morono second time out. So I think he deserves another crack at the whip, in fairness. He's an elite talent. He's only young as well, 26.
Has he got Judo Jimmy in his next fight?
He has Judo Jimmy. He's fighting on Cage Warriors, live on UFC Fight Pass. It is one not to be missed. April 29th in Dublin's 3 Arena. We will be there for that, so that is one definitely not to be missed.
Plug.
Yeah, we have both lads coming on our show together ahead of the event as well. Just one point.
Oh, nice one. And of course, we can catch your podcast right here on UFC Fight Pass Podcast Central. Great work that you guys do, and I love that kind of round table effect where you get, it gets a little heated sometimes.
Oh, it does. It gets a bit spicy, John.
Oh, we like that. We like that. All right, so just to come back to me and Gary, sorry, so I forgot to ask you that. He's obviously stationed now stateside. Would he be feeling the love from the Irish fans all the way over there?
Yeah,
and if he hasn't, let him know.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like there can be a disconnect. I feel like sometimes because he's not around. See, when McGregor rose to stardom, he was on the streets of Dublin. He stopped. He got a picture with every Tom, Dick, and Harry known to man. So McGregor stayed within Dublin and never got to see him. I would say there is a slight disconnect just because he's not as accessible as Conor was in his rise. But again, he has to do what's best for him. Killcliff has the best welterweights in the world, bar none. You have the likes of Vincente Luque, Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman does a bit of training there time to time, Shavkat Rakhmonov, the list goes on. And there's some non-ranked like Li Jingliang and more.
It's crazy.
It really is. So maybe he doesn't feel the love, but I'm telling you now, if he came home to roost for a UFC Dublin card, he'll feel the love for that.
Love that. Barry, any further talent that's right there knocking on the door of the UFC?
Yeah, well, Ross was named to men there, even our current champions of Cage Warriors. Just during the week, St. Patrick's Week on Wednesday, Danny McCormick became the world champion victor in the strawweight division, and also Sean O'Bannon remained undefeated. She went 5-0, both on the same card. There's talk now that they could potentially face off, but we don't know if that's going to happen in Dublin. The president was saying, should we come to Dublin? Who knows? But those two would be great additions as well, especially for Irish women's MMA.
Can I throw a name in the hat? The Don. Caelan Loughran.
The Don. No, we love the Don. He's a big fight coming up in Rome. He wants to become the champion in the bantamweight division. That's currently vacated title, and he's going to the Lions Den. He's going to Rome. He's facing Italian in their home turf. I don't think there's any other Irish on the card at the moment.
And the Don doesn't care about stuff like that.
No, but that's what makes him so interesting. It's like this sport is very tough. People know that. You can be a great fighter in the cage, but if you can't market yourself, it's going to be very, very hard to, first of all, connect. Whether you're loved or hated, it's actually worse having no interaction at all.
Yeah, the Don rubs a lot of people up the wrong way, John. He really, really does. But we like that. We like that about him. It's funny, he's one of those people, he rubs them up the wrong way, but you meet him in person, he's a really nice guy. He knows what he's doing. He makes a lot of noise. He is a sublime talent. He's fighting out Team Cowbon, but he does still get that love when he came home. When he came home to roost for Cage Warriors Belfast that time, he got a big pop in the crowd. He got a big pop when he got the finish. Yeah. I think he's an elite talent, and I think he's ready for the UFC call when it comes. First of all, he has Dylan Hazan. He's fighting that fight in Rome, only on UFC Fight Pass.
Love it, yeah. I've actually seen him at work quite a few times, obviously visiting that gym to see Darren Till, but every time we wrapped with Darren Till, the Don was out there with his brother Tynan working, just extra rounds, extra lifting. Then they'd stay in the gym, doing it the hard way, no grumbling. The guy, I've never seen someone in shape like him all year round, and he's hungry.
Yeah, he is an elite pro. He really is. He really views it that way. Interesting enough, Tiernan Loughran has actually left Team Cowbon and he's joined Paul Hughes' gym, Fight Academy Ireland. He's moved back home to Ireland. Tiernan's won the elite amateurs. Gaethje has a fight against another top prospect, Max Lally, in the amateur scene in Ireland on Cage Conflict, which is another great show, which is home to many fighters who make route to Cage Warriors.
Yeah.
And that's where Paul Hughes first started his pro career. So it's a great Irish promotion. So shout out to Cage Conflict while we're here.
I love this grassroots MMA chat that we're having here, gentlemen.
It has to be done, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Well, we've still got lots of time here, lots to talk about, get your analysis on. To those of you that are out there listening to us, watching, we're going to have some swag to give away. We're giving away some memberships to UFC Fight Pass for a whole year as well. Oh yes, I can see some heads turning.
Yes.
We'll be taking email addresses for you lucky people. Of course, we're going to have a few people coming by as well. We've already had Yuri and AAA. I think we're going to get Joanna Jedrzejczyk come by as well. Who else have we got coming up?
I think we might get Tommy Aspinall. Tommy Aspinall.
The big Tom Aspinall will be gracing us with his presence, so do stick around. And 2023 so far then. Like we're a few months in, but I have to say, it's been a blooming fast start for the combat sports leader. Any
Absolutely.
particular events or standout performances? I've got a whole list in front of me here because I can't remember them all.
For myself, it has to be the return of John Jones at heavyweight. We only saw it the last pay-per-view, UFC 285. He went in there and he dismantled Cyril Gane in a matter of minutes. I think that cements himself as the GOAT in MMA history. It was an absolute phenomenal showing. The only thing I would have liked more is if we actually got a bit of an exchange on the feet first.
Yes, it's frightening how quickly he got the work done against someone that I respect so highly. That whole team down at MMA Factory, they're always so very well prepared, and Cyril Gane is the coolest cat. I seriously can only think that the occasion and the opponent, I call it the voodoo, but there's a mystique when you're facing certain fighters. There are guys that turn up when the lights are the brightest. It's not something that you can do with just a few years experience. Apparently the evidence is there, and the way that John Jones captured that gold is terrifying, I think, for the rest of those guys at heavyweights.
That was really confusing performance from Cyril Gane, because he did take on Francis. I know he lost, but he was already in that big occasion, and then getting choked out like that in the first round. Like, even the commentators watching just couldn't believe that he actually tapped. It was just quite bizarre, but it just actually goes to show how good John Jones is. And I think Tom Aspinall sitting at home watching that would be like, you know what, this is some guy that I want to test myself against.
Yeah, nice. Let's have got a few people gathering round here. I wonder why that is. He's casting a shadow over the booth. For those of you in the O2 Arena, we're just about to be joined by the UK's own Tom Aspinall. So please come by, let's hear what he's got to say. No doubt, well, right now he's choking out a man who's a few weight classes smaller than him.
Can I swear on this or not?
You can say whatever you like on this, Tom. Tom wants to know, can he swear?
I'm
Ladies and
fucking
gentlemen,
sick of you,
in the
John.
crowd, let's make some noise for Tom Aspinall!
If we can pass that microphone to Big Tom. What did you just say to me, Tom?
I said I'm fucking sick of seeing your face, John, all week.
That's nice, isn't it? Isn't that nice? I was just about to say, Tom, you did such a wonderful job on our show, Fight Day Focus, which I urge everyone on UFC Fight Pass to go and watch. It's on the YouTube channel. How are we?
I am doing well, thanks, John. How
Yeah.
are you? How are you doing, more importantly?
My
you
voice?
look very nice.
Thank you, Prem. That is the first time you've ever said that to me. Are you liking this number? It's quite British.
It's a bit camp, but I like it. It's
I
a
don't
bit
know what that means.
feminine. It's a
You
bit
can say-
feminine. It's a bit feminine,
but
it's
you
okay.
like it?
I like it.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take that from you. Yeah, I'm doing all right. My voice is a bit croaky, and it's a long night ahead, and I definitely will be cheering because we have a very big night ahead of us, Tom. Who are you looking forward to seeing most?
I'm gonna say about a fight that's, I think, slipping under the radar a little bit, to be honest with
Love
you.
this.
And I'm looking forward to the most out of the whole card. Jack Shaw against Makwan Amirkhani. I think it's an unbelievable fight. It's just sliding. It's such a big card. It's just sliding under the radar. I think it's going to be an absolute banger.
Why? Why do you like that one so much?
I think both of them bring it every time. I think Makwan just goes like balls to the wall every time, and he's good to watch. And I'm very excited to see how Jack Shaw gets on, moving up a weight, moving up to featherweight. I think he's going to have a lot more energy. I think he's going to go for it a little bit more. And yeah, really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to all the fights, but especially that one.
Have you got any analytical insight from your personal perspective about how Leon might both deal with the occasion and get the job done tonight?
I think the
Oh,
turnaround.
excuse me 1 second. I'm very sorry, Tom, but look who's just joined us, everyone. Joanna Jedrzejczyk. She will always be my queen of the strawweight division. And she's too shy for the mic right now. I'll let you finish your point. We're definitely going to get Joanna on the microphone in just a second, but finish your point on Leon.
I can't remember. I'm too distracted now. No, I think that the quick turnaround is playing in Leon's favour after such a heavy knockout. I think that Kamaru Usman's going to be a little bit desperate maybe, or maybe he's going to go the other way and be a little bit tentative in the fight, and I think the mental aspect plays a massive part tonight, and I think Leon's going to get the job done.
We're going to come back to you in a second, Tom. We let these guys challenge you with some questions. If you could please pass the microphone across one to the one and only Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Welcome to the podcast central here on UFC Fight Pass.
Hi guys,
How are we doing?
so good. So far so good. Good to be here.
Is he behaving him? You guys have been hanging out a bit this week. Is he on his best behaviour?
Because he's my Polish fella. He speaks Polish
Of course.
very well.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Tom's wife is Polish. He's got a few Polish lyrics in his locker as well.
So he's fucked because he's like my brother. So you know.
Yeah.
Love it. It's good to see you here in Fight Week, Joanna. Of course, whenever a fighter retires, we're very sad if they just disappear and into oblivion and we don't get to hear from them. But you are so ingrained in this sport. One thing that I don't think a lot of these fans know about is how you're now looking to manage other fighters at the highest level, like Mateusz Gamrot.
Yeah, sure. I want to be around UFC fighters and fans, because there is no sport without fans. And UFC fans are very, very special, very dedicated and educated. But yeah, I want to be a manager as well, and I want to help young athletes, upcoming prospects. I just want to share my knowledge and protect them from what I wasn't protected at all. But so yeah, I just want to help them. I want to have my management company, but the most important thing is to make them feel special,
I have to ask, and you don't have to answer if you feel uncomfortable, but you said you weren't protected from something. Are there certain things that you can share?
I want to. It's not about the money. I want to make money of it, but I want to invest the money in more science, and I want to show the fighters' life outside the octagon, outside the gym is as important as training. Because they don't teach us how to invest money when we make money, and they. Today you are an athlete on the highest level, but if you get injured pretty bad, you might not be an athlete anymore. And what's next? What's after? So I will put lots of attention on education and sharing my experience, if it's about weight cut, money, language, the business-wise and marketing-wise. So because there is so much to prove around fighting career, and I will definitely focus on it.
Brilliant. Boss lady Joanna, of course. And before I hand the microphone over, which fight are you most excited about tonight?
All of the co-main event, the main event, and Mokaev as well. He's been training at American Top Team before. He did his last camp in Thailand, I think. But he's such a big prospect, and I'm very excited. But of course, the co-main event and main event, don't ask me, because I don't like to predict the fights. For me, it's always 50-50. But I can't wait. I can't wait for tonight. Thank you, guys.
That's brilliant, Joanna. I'm going to start with yourself first, just as you have the microphone in your hand. The Boogie Woman is coming to manage you. That's the new tagline for you. But obviously, there's 3 women's flyweight fights on this card. Myself personally, I'm looking forward to them. But which of the women, of the 6 women fighting tonight, do you think has the highest ceiling?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't follow fights that much because I just don't have time. I'm trying to be focused on my fight.
Taking over the world out here. Taking over the world.
So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But I will be watching for sure.
That's brilliant. Well, best luck with this new management venture. We're looking forward to see what you have to do. Tom, for yourself, I don't know if you were aware, but on the walk over here, we were discussing one John Bones Jones. What did you make of his performance, and are you excited to be the man to try and dethrone him?
I don't know if I'm going to get to fight him, to be honest. I don't know if he's going to stick around too much. If I was him, I wouldn't start fighting contenders, up-and-coming contenders like myself and the other guys in the division. I don't think... You never know, that would be an absolute dream fight for me. I've been watching him since I was about 13 years old, so I would love that fight, but whether I'm going to get it or not, I don't know.
And with that, how would you see a fight between yourself and John Bones Jones going? Because obviously he's got quite a unique skill set. He seems to be very, very good everywhere. How do you feel you do against him? How would the fight play out?
Well, it's heavyweight MMA. Everybody's dangerous, and I feel like I'm one dangerous man. And if I just feel like I match up pretty good against him. But it is heavyweight MMA, and you just never know. Heavyweight MMA's got like rules of its own, in my opinion. It's almost like a different entity of the sport to the other divisions. Like, even if you're a lot better than somebody else, it just takes literally one strike or one person to land in the top position, and it can be over. So, but I feel like skill for skill, I match up pretty well against him.
Tom, how's it fun, bud? After being here and headlining this arena 2 times in a row, and now being here like as a fan, like what's it like being around, meeting the people that support you, that bought the tickets, have seen you headline here before?
It's really nice, you know. Like, it's difficult to appreciate it all when you've got to fight somebody on the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're aware that someone's going to try and beat you up on the weekend. It's pretty hard to like embrace and appreciate every moment, but I'm getting better at it, and this week's been pretty nice because I just get to relax and just be around people and really try and like show some love to the people who show me love. I really appreciate it.
Well, hold that thought for just a second, because are you guys feeling leery? Are you guys feeling leery? Come on now. All right, so first of all, Joanna Jedrzejczyk just disappeared. Can we just have a big roar and a round of applause for Joanna for stopping by? Thank you very much. And now, because Tom was talking about feeling the love, not feeling the love, whatever it might be, can we have a round of Tommy Aspinall, Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall, Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall. Thank you very much, thank you guys, you're the best. Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, thank you.
Let you get on with all of your duties today.
Tom.
Oh, he's got some gifts as well.
And for those of you who are in the crowd and do not have a UFC Fight Pass subscription yet, what have you been doing with your lives? But if you don't have one yet, if you see that lovely man in the grey there, JB, put your hands up. He will give you a complimentary UFC Fight Pass subscription for the first 10 people to go over and say hello to him.
Well, can I just have, you guys here, so JB, this gentleman here standing next to the lovely lady in the navy coats.
His name is Shane.
He just put his hand in here and said that he would love a UFC Fight Pass subscription. He's even got those.
Yeah, he's even got the Energized glasses.
Does anyone else fancy a UFC Fight Pass subscription? Because they're like hanging them out now. This is like candy at the sweet shop.
Make your way over to JB, give him your email, and he will send you out a code for a free yearly Fight Pass subscription. It does not get much better than that.
I think we're going to need security for JB over there, although I certainly wouldn't mess with him. Look at the size of the man.
The more subscriptions he gives out, the better. He loves getting people's email addresses and sending them emails, that man.
Well, that was a treat, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Joanna Jedrzejczyk, let's start with Joanna as well. I mean, big moves, of course. Did we expect anything less?
No, as bold as her fight career, she took on all-comers, and now she's managing all-comers. I think it is an incredible move for her. She managed her own career so well. I think fighters who are with her, like Mateusz Gamrot, are in very safe hands. I think that's the way forward for her.
Barry, Big Tom Aspinall, this week for me, he's really owning that role as a massive ambassador for, you know, heavyweights, UK heavyweights in the UFC, the star that we know that he can be from like an insider type of stuff. We've had him doing some analysis for the UFC this week, and I always knew he had it in him, but you need the opportunity to actually deliver it. But he's knocked it out the park this week for BT Sport and the UFC.
Yeah, see, the thing is, he said himself he's not a big fan of doing interviews and stuff. Like, obviously in the build-up to fights, like now that we know that he had that knee injury and that's come to light, but now he's able to enjoy the week, get stuck into the interviews. He has a great rapport yourself with Bisping, with the lads. It's it's great to see that the other side of Tom Aspinall that's enjoying life, back 100% fit and eager to get going again.
Yeah. Who do you think they're going to put him up against next time out. He's calling for Tybura. Do you think they'll make that fight?
Do you know what? I saw that he was calling out Tybura. You have to put me on the spot now. Who would I like to see him fight? I think there is a possibility of getting a rematch against Blades, maybe the winner of Blades, Pavlovich. But I'm sure he'll probably want to get a win in before that. So possibly Tybura. That's actually a big fight. Ross was pointed there. Tai Tuivasa versus Tom Aspinall. That would be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, give it to me. I want to see Tom Aspinall face the Shuey. I think if you're looking for someone with a high profile, I think Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa. I don't really think it matters whether he's lost a few fights recently. I think the profile sells the fight, and I think, you know, Tybura, he's a good fighter, but I don't think he really is going to generate as much noise online or resonate with the fans as much as Bam Bam does. So give me the Bam Bam Tuivasa fight all night long.
Another fight that I think will happen down the line, and that's why I'd like to get his next fight fixed pretty soon, is a fight with Cyril Gane. And as a fan of both fighters, they are the most athletic, fleet-footed, like technical heavyweights that we've got, and there's a lot of history there. I mean, it's full like sportsman's respect, but Tom, I think, has beaten 2 or 3 guys from the MMA factory now in Paris, so I'm sure that as a team they want to get one back over the Brits, so there is a little backstory to that one. Lots of respect, but I mean, how about that one, Barry?
Yeah, that's actually not a bad show, because as the UFC like to do, they like to
headline Paris as well.
Yeah, they also like to put 2 guys that are coming off losses against each other. Now, Tom's loss, like, I mean, that was really disappointing the way that happened. I wouldn't necessarily call that a loss, but it goes down as a record as a loss. But that's Tai Tuivasa fight like that, like, Jesus Christ, give me that.
Yeah, I definitely. I'd take either fight, John. To be honest, Cyril Gane and Tom Aspinall, like you said, like a bit of a striker's delight at heavyweight. I'd like to see, you know, Gane's kickboxing against sort of Tom's boxing and see who come out on top. I'm not saying Tom doesn't have a few kicks of his own, but I think it would be a phenomenal fight. Obviously, if you beat the fellow who just fought for the title, that puts you next in line. I know he's calling for the Tybura fight, but I don't feel like the Tybura fight puts him any further ahead than he is at the moment. I think the Tuivasa fight or the Cyril Gane fight, and maybe more so the Cyril Gane fight, raises his profile more than it already is.
I'm just looking at the scheduling though, and I thought, well, if he can make that Tybura fight in June, that would be good. And then maybe if they were to go back to Poland, it's been a while since we've been there, and then he can turn around to face Cyril Gane in, I mean, if the UFC decide to do like a Paris card in September like they did last year, scheduling wise, that's pretty good. And you know, when you're taking on Cyril Gane, like, he's right up there at the very top. I'm not sure if he's done, like, after what happened last time, to try and get Cyril Gane. I think he might need to climb another rung on the ladder.
Yeah, what about Derek Lewis?
Be interesting, wouldn't it? Be interesting.
I mean, Derek Lewis, I know he's from Houston, but he hasn't got a great record there. Derek Lewis versus Tom Aspinall here in London.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, Tom just ran through Sergey Spivak, though, didn't he? That was the thing, and Spivak runs through Derek Lewis, so I think he's probably ahead, you know, when he's looking at the queue, probably doesn't want to quite go down there.
Yeah, I think it's just more, whatever gets Tom staying in Europe for me is what gets it over the line for me. If we can come back here in July and Tom headlines the card, if we can, you know, go to Poland, if we can go to France, wherever we can keep Tom in Europe, how we can easily get to him and see, and the UK fans can get to him and see, that's what's best for business for me.
Something else that I thought we could talk about, a little theme, trilogy fights.
Trilogy fights, I like it.
So we're going to be, I'm testing your MMA knowledge here a little bit, potentially. I know that I had to research this one. Of course, we have a huge trilogy fight to be settled tonight here at the O2. Usman versus Edwards, headshot, all of that. But throughout your years of being UFC fans, and perhaps going back through the archives here on UFC Fight Pass, who have been, or what have been some of the great trilogies?
For me, like, it's hard to look past McGregor Poirier.
Why did I think you might say that?
I know McGregor's actually on the wrong end of it, but just obviously it was such a massive fight at the time. You know, we had nice Conor, mean Conor, insulting Conor. We had a variation of Conors for the fight, but the build-ups always feel massive. You know what I mean? You had Conor rocking in on yachts into fights and stuff like that. It was just stuff we haven't seen before.
The yacht was too big to get into, I think, is it Marina Bay? I think it's called the Marina. The F1 goes to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
The F1, there's so much money there, and the yacht that Conor rocked up on was too big to get into the building. They had to just leave it in the ocean.
That's absolutely insane, considering, like you said, the F1 go to Abu Dhabi and the F1 go to Monaco, and when you can't fit your yacht into Abu Dhabi, that says something special about Conor's yacht. But yeah, that fight, it just brought so many eyeballs, and who knows, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a fourth one before all is said and done. You know, Conor doesn't like to let those losses lie. He likes to pick up the win in the end, so who knows. And Poirier, he's sort of out in the cold at the moment. He doesn't really have anything lined up on, unless I'm missing something, does he?
I don't think so. He's always. We always hear from him. He's campaigning for the big fights.
Yeah.
Of course, he deserves the big fights. I think he's a phenomenal fighter. Barry, trilogies that tickle you?
You have to put me on the spot there.
What about Velasquez versus JDS?
That's a good one.
Yeah, but like both are gonna do it.
Yeah, but doesn't mean it's trilogy.
Oh no, just through the history.
Oh, okay,
Sorry,
right,
yeah. Over the archives, if you like.
Well, I'm a massive fan of Cain Velasquez, and when he came back and fought against Francis Ngannou. It was Francis Ngannou, wasn't it? When his knee broke.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great disappointment. But that's obviously one big trilogy I'm a fan of.
Randy Couture has been involved in a couple of trilogies over the years. I think sometimes we forget about the mark that he made on mixed martial arts. And the reason why I was sort of teeing it up, and maybe we'll shortcut to it then, how good has this trilogy been between Leon and Usman so far? You know, it's not done, but so far. How much are you liking the storylines?
Well, the way the two faced off after Kamaru Usman, one the ultimate fighter, and then the way their careers went, like Leon's career sort of went under the radar, Kamaru's just went on and became champion. And now they fought each other.
Yeah, like I have to agree with you, Barry. When you really look at it, it's an incredible trilogy. I think because Usman was so dominant in the first fight, and then the second fight, Leon won the first round, and then like Usman turned the tides, and then it all came down to the fifth round in what is probably one of the most historic moments in UK MMA history now, isn't it?
Yeah. What way did you actually foresee that second fight going that way, especially the way the first fight went the way it did with Kamaru winning the first fight?
See, I think Usman's so good at all facets of the sport, in all different sections of sport, so I feel like Edwards is someone who he's really good at fighting his opponents where they're weak, and he found a weakness in Kamaru's game in the first round, but then Usman is relentless. His wrestling is the elite of the elite in the UFC, and he found his way. And then, you know what, I've never seen anything like it, the way Leon rallied back in that fifth round. And that advice from the corner, I don't know, John, is that the best advice? Well, not the best, but is that the biggest turnaround you've ever seen from a piece of cornering advice?
Epic cornering. I have to credit my man John Anik with, and the rest of the broadcast team as well, that when you paint a moment like that so perfectly, I mean, he obviously didn't know that it was just the moment and everything there, the whole narrative. Then when you play into the storytelling, come into it. And here's another thing that you guys may or may not have noticed. The cameraman doesn't normally zoom in on those post-fight interviews when you've got Joe Rogan stood next to someone. It's normally a two-shot.
Yeah.
That cameraman decided to push in on Leon when he was yelling at the camera, "Look at me now, look at what," like, no Joe Rogan in that frame. We never see that. Everything about the broadcast complemented that moment, and I just have to credit the guys behind the scenes and obviously my broadcast colleagues in doing that. It really was phenomenal. Now, we've been talking a little while. O2 Arena, do you guys want to get on a microphone? We'd be happy to entertain you guys, get some of you to ask some questions, you know, get involved here on YouTube. Oh, look at this. Oh, you come dressed for the occasion as well. Look at this one, man. Let's go, come down the other side for me, because we're going to give you a chair and everything. Like, well, first of all, could it have been anyone else? Because I think he's upstaged me when it comes to the jacket that I'm wearing.
No way, Busby. You look amazing.
No, I appreciate it. Introduce yourself.
I'm Nicholas. It's nice to see you all here.
Oh, he's done this before. We've got a little bling there as well. You're dressed up for a night out, sir. I take it you got tickets?
I actually don't, unfortunately.
Oh
It's too
boy,
late.
sorry, just rub salt in the wound there.
Yeah, I just came to see the fighters, that's all.
Very cool. What have you enjoyed about Fight Week?
Everything, man, everything. You guys got the experience outside with the punching machine and you can take a picture with a belt, come over here and meet the fighters, and you're all doing that for free, so I appreciate you guys for doing that, man. It's really nice.
Very cool, very cool. All right, should we talk some fights?
Definitely.
Who are you excited for seeing?
Oh, man. I really want to see this Gaethje fight, man. I think he's going to take Fiziev out.
I'm going to ask you about the main event as well before I hand it over to these guys. What do you reckon? We have to kind of go on both microphones, yeah,
Okay,
so
my
these
bad,
guys
my
can
bad.
hear us. No, I didn't tell you that, that's on me.
What I think of the main event, I think Edwards is going to knock him out again, you know, same style. Hopefully he gets it done in the first round.
There's some applause coming out there as well, love that.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else down the card that you're excited about seeing that's maybe making their debut, or someone whose career you followed?
Do you know what? I actually really want to see this Gunnar Nelson fight. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've been watching Gunnar Nelson's fight for a long time. I'm a big fan of Gunnar Nelson as well, so yeah, very excited.
I need to know, where's the inspiration from the outfit from?
The inspiration from the outfit?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fight day outfit, isn't it? This is how the fighters dress every day. You know, as soon as they get that good paycheck, this is how they come out all the time. So I wanted to kind of match that, you know.
I'm getting some easy Adesanya vibes.
Adesanya, that's it. Yeah, Usman, you know the way they dress up, the Conor McGregor.
I feel it. Look, we're trying to drag the UFC back here in July again. We want to make it. We want to make it March and July every year.
Yeah.
Tell us this: if you could book one fight for July as the main event, what are you booking?
Oh man, I'd say if Edwards takes it today, I'll put him against McGregor for the welterweight.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. What do you guys think?
No, that would be a massive fight.
Yeah.
Edwards
Him and
against McGregor. That would be huge. Speaking of McGregor taking on Michael Chandler, what way do you see that going on The Ultimate Fighter?
Do you know what? I think it's going to be a tough fight for him because Michael Chandler's in really good form. You know, the way that he knocked out Dan Hooker was crazy. But, you know, I've been hearing good things about Conor and his recovery. You know, apparently his leg is really good now. And, you know, Stephen Thompson said the other day that he's bringing out his karate stance again. So, you know, we might see the old Conor again, hopefully.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, nice. Great job. Thank you very much for stopping. Can we have a round of applause, please? And one last thing, do you have a UFC Fight Pass subscription?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well that's good. These guys were going to give you one if you didn't, but once again, thank you. It's great
Thank you so much, guys.
Great to meet you. We hope you enjoy Fight Week.
Thank you, guys.
That's good. And now we've got competition for best coats and outfits in the O2 Arena.
Yeah,
Look at this guy right here. How are we doing, sir? Grab yourself that microphone. You're going to have to talk into both for us. One's for the live stream, one so that these beautiful people can hear you. Who are we talking with today?
We're talking to Big Marty. My name's Martin Hawkins. Pleased to meet you. Pleased to meet everyone here. How we doing? Come on!
Losing my job out here. This is fantastic stuff. Great to have you with us, Martin.
Thank you, sir.
Have you got tickets for tonight?
Of course I have.
Of course you have. That's what I like to hear. Who are you excited about seeing?
Probably Leon Edwards the most, to be fair.
Yeah?
Yeah, love Leon.
Okay. What did you think about that win that he got in Utah?
Amazing, unbelievable. The way he overcome the odds, everything, you know, 5th round. The coach, his motivation, everything. Loved it.
Did you love him as much before that moment? I mean that respectfully. I think that the fans have taken a little while to warm up to Leon, but that moment has really got me.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, I love the game. I've been a big fan for many years. So obviously I followed Leon's path. I know his last loss was Kamaru Usman, and uniquely Kamaru Usman's last loss is Leon Edwards. So we're looking at something special tonight.
Obviously, since the pandemic, UFC has been coming back to London, and it's been star-studded event after star-studded event, and we want to continue that. But looking back historically, what is your favourite UK MMA moment of all time?
Well, I was present for the Michael Bisping versus Anderson Silva event, so for me personally, that was a huge event. I mean, when the round ended and Bisping was knocked down, and many people thought he was knocked out, I knew he wasn't. And Herb Dean stepped in, let Anderson Silva know, look, it's the end of the round, it's not the end of the fight, you've got to move on. And then that one-eyed English zombie got up and he won that fight.
Do you believe a win tonight for Leon Edwards will eclipse that moment?
I believe he can, it just depends on how he does it. I want it to be impressive. You know, I mean, it's hard to top what he did last time, but the odds are against him again. I think he can do it.
Where did you actually watch the fight last time when he beat Kamaru Usman? Because obviously he was very late over here.
Yeah. I mean, every fight I watch back at my place with my friends, I've actually got my own page, Day to Day MMA, shameless plug.
Go for it.
So we watched it there and we enjoyed it there.
What was the session like after?
Yeah, pretty heavy.
Love it.
We love to see it. I'm going to ask the same question John asked. Do you have a UFC Fight Pass subscription?
Do you know what? I need one.
You need one. Well, if you see my man JB over in the grey top there, he will look after you with your very own annual subscription.
Perfect.
Where you can catch all the home of combat sports
amazing.
MMA.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
There we have it. Thanks very much.
Big round of applause for Martin, everyone.
Take care. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it.
Lovely
That
to
was
meet you, man.
great stuff. And the guests just keep on coming. About time we had a female voice here. Big cheers. Love that. Thank you very much. You might have to aim your tones into both microphones.
Hello.
Hello. So my name's John. What's your name?
Beth.
Beth.
Yeah.
Thank you for stopping by, Beth. How's your week been?
It's been sick.
Yeah?
Sick.
Why?
Because I'm in London and I've never been before.
Where are you from?
Bolton, Manchester.
Love it.
And then it was my boyfriend's birthday a week ago, so...
Happy birthday, boyfriend.
So we've got to do this, and then he got his book signed, and I've met like so many UFC fighters, and I feel like a big fangirl right now.
This is fantastic, right? Listen, this is a winner. My wife does not like UFC, my friend. I'm not even allowed to watch the fights on my big TV at home. Can't do it. I've got to disappear somewhere else. This is fantastic. You have late nights to get up. Beautiful
we
stuff.
We have fight nights, so like say if I'm at my dad's sometimes I'm like, yeah, it's fight night, so I've got to come back, so I look like you prepared for me to come, and he's like, right, okay, so...
Oh, this is fantastic. I love everything about this. So who are you excited about seeing tonight?
Gaethje, because I think it's going to be a scrap, and then obviously the main card itself, you know, Usman versus Edwards, and then for some prelims, I'm just excited for the whole experience as well as it.
What are you expecting?
Knockouts, headshot dead. That's what I want again.
Oh, I love that. How are the crowd going to be? Because I'll be honest with you, I thought that you guys were phenomenal on Thursday. Yesterday, I thought you guys were an A, but I'm expecting a star.
Oh, I think it's
from
going to be
London.
out of the world. Like, we're all crazy. All Brits are crazy. That's what we're known for. Dana loves England. Therefore, we're just going to bring it. We have to bring it. And then we can come back again and again and again.
And Beth, is this you and your boyfriend's first ever event together?
Yeah, UFC, yeah.
This is a big moment for a relationship.
I think you should get down on one knee, personally.
Do it. Yeah, look, I'm in the same boat as John now. I sent my missus a picture of the setup there, and she goes, "Oh, that looks lovely." You know what I mean? So that's what I got. But no, this is incredible. How long have you been a fan for, and what was your first MMA moment?
I'm so glad you asked me that. So it's only been 2 years, but what got me into UFC was Holloway. Just watching him fight was crazy, and then my favourite that made me want to actually come was last year's London card. Us watching Paddy, like we stood up on the couch, we were screaming, it's like the neighbours, I'm like, I don't care! Like honestly, after that I was like, yo, gotta go. It's like that was like what did it for me.
Beth, I have 2 questions. Like this fan experience that you're after having this week, like for people tuning in, watching now, like can you explain to them what it's like experiencing it for the first time?
Experiencing it for the first time is just, imagine having a baby. No, imagine having 10 babies, it's still not as good as that. Like, hands down not as good as that.
And also, do you and your boyfriend have a UFC Fight Pass subscription?
No, we don't.
No, but if we give you one, if the 2 of you break up, who gets to keep it?
Me.
Okay.
Listen, I'm sat here, love, you're not, I get it.
Okay, I think that's very fair. Ben, thanks a million for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We're not finished. You just said that Max Holloway got you into this whole thing, or one of the reasons why,
Yeah.
but our man, Arnold Allen, who was sat in that very chair, by the way, there might be some of his DNA around there. He is fighting Max Holloway in a massive fight.
I said that, so I wanted to do the meet and greet to see Arnold Allen, and then I was like, yeah, I'll get him signed my arm and I'll get it tattooed, and then it'll mean everything then. In a couple, like when he fights Holloway, then he goes for the belt, like I'll be at that star moment.
So you're putting for AAA, I take it?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. Listen, you've been great. Thank you very much for
Thank you very
stopping
much.
by. I hope you guys have a great time as well. Thank you very much. Beth, everyone, big round of applause.
Thank you.
All right.
John, the fans just keep on giving. Like, we have some kids here, looks to be dressed up as Aljamain Sterling. Is that an Aljo outfit?
We got an
think
Aljo
so.
outfit. No,
Yeah.
he's got a belt on and everything there, young sir. Looking fine, like
Got the
it.
big
Like
chain.
it.
It is something really, really special. Some of the characters that you meet at these events, they really are the ones that make it special. And without the fans, it would mean nothing. I saw you did your Q&A yesterday with Ian Freeman, Jimmy Manoa, Michael Bisping, Brad Pickett, and it was one of those things where at the end you went, this would mean nothing without all you guys. And that actually really resonated with ourselves. It was a touching moment, so it was really lovely to hear, John.
Yeah, well, listen, the guys that I was on the stage with yesterday really did build this sport, which allows us to have these great moments out here, in there, and beyond. It's absolutely wonderful stuff. A couple of things that you guys should go look back on if you're newer fans to UFC. You've got to go back and watch that UFC 38 first time that the UFC came back or came to London, and Ian Freeman, who was up on that stage, got a win over Frank Mir. He was like the guy at the time, went on to obviously become a UFC champion. We heard about Michael Bisping versus Anderson Silva. You've got to go watch that. There are so many great moments. UFC Fight Pass gives you access to it all. That, gentlemen, is about it from us. If any of you are desperate for a UFC Fight Pass subscription, our man JB is hanging around here somewhere. I think he's feeling generous today, so we can make that happen. Hang around here. But Ross, Barry, this has been a pleasure. Everyone subscribe also to the socials of these gentlemen and the Energized podcast. I love their work. They're doing good stuff both on the grassroots level all the way up to the very top. I hope you had fun today.
John, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for holding us our hand through this experience. For all of you out there, you all know John Gooden is an absolute legend of the game in the UK. He really, really is.
Yeah.
Not only that, he's as nice on camera as he is off camera.
That's a lie.
He is an absolute legend. We love it, and we only have one last thing to say, Baz. As always,
Stay energized.
We love it. And to all you beautiful people out there, have the best night. This is an incredible event. Thank you for everyone that stopped by and gave us a few moments. Really appreciate it. Let's have a great day.
headshot dead.
All right.
That was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm happy. You happy?
Yeah, happy, yeah.
Good.